Oscar-winning director Roman Polanski is fighting hard this morning to keep from being extradited to the United States. A Hollywood fugitive had been hiding in plain sight for 3 decades, but was finally arrested over the weekend. CBS News correspondent Sheila McVicker has the latest from London. Sheila, good morning.
Good morning, Harry. Well, the transatlantic struggle over the fate of Roman Polanski is escalating this morning as both France and Poland say they will press Switzerland for his release and say they plan to appeal to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to have the charges set aside. It was a day Roman Polanski had been dreading and by this time thought might never come. But U.S. prosecutors, knowing Polanski planned to travel to Switzerland to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award, laid a trap. A warrant authorizing the Swiss to arrest him.
It took this long because he was a fugitive. Well, now he's no longer a fugitive. He was arrested pursuant to a warrant issued by over 3 decades ago. In
1977, Polanski plied a 13-year-old girl with champagne and drugs and then raped her, a charge reduced to a single count of unlawful sexual intercourse, which he pled guilty to. Convinced the judge was going to renege on the plea bargain deal, Polanski fled the U.S.
Well, I, as you say, ran away because I think that I was very unfortunate to have a judge who misused justice.
That judge is now dead. A judicial review this year did find there was misconduct, but the charges could not be set aside as Polanski was a fugitive. Fearing renewed attention, Polanski's victim, Samantha Geimer, who accepted a cash settlement from him, has said she does not want the case reopened.
The publicity was so terrible and so immediate that it just overshadowed everything that happened that night.
Since fleeing, Polanski has lived carefully, safe in France, because as a French citizen, he could not be extradited. Fellow artists have reacted with anger, and France's foreign minister, a friend of the director's, called his arrest not nice. News this morning, Harry, that the director has just hired a lawyer in Switzerland to fight that extradition request. That is both the foreign ministers of both France and Poland say that as a 76-year-old, he posed no risk and that his talents and achievements should be respected. The district attorney in L.A. says until he's back in court, there won't be any justice.
Sheila McVicker in London this morning, thank you. Joining us now from Los Angeles is CBS News legal analyst Lisa Bloom. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning.
How shocked must Roman Polanski have been to have been arrested? Will he be extradited?
I think he will be. Under our treaty with Switzerland, somebody facing these kinds of charges should be extradited. The real question is what has taken so long? He had a home in Switzerland. He's been there many, many times over the years. Apparently, he has escaped extradition all of those previous times. Mostly, though, he's been living in France, and our treaty with France prevented him from being extradited, so he was safe there, but clearly he's safe no longer.
So is it clear to you, then, the district attorney in Los Angeles continued to pursue this case even after all of these decades?
I think they did. They say that they did, especially in the last few years. I mean, it's hard to understand exactly what went on behind the scenes, but the district attorney here is saying that at least a half a dozen times in previous years, they tried to get Roman Polanski and they just were unable to do so. I don't know if he was tipped off, if he was just lucky. We don't know exactly what happened.
The civil case was solved, so to speak, with a check. The victim in this case really wants it all basically to seemingly go away, but that's not how the state feels about it.
That's a very important point, Harry. This is a crime against the people of the state of California, as all crimes are. And so if a civil settlement does not end it, this is a man who fled on the eve of sentencing because he was concerned he was going to get a harsher sentence than he expected under the plea bargain. He's been a fugitive for 30 years. He still faces sentencing here in California. It's irrelevant legally that he has a civil settlement with the complaining witness.
And if he ends up being brought back to California, what's the likelihood that he would do serious time?
Well, he does have an issue pending regarding judicial misconduct, and the court has said in the past when his attorneys have tried to argue that, he cannot argue that while he's a fugitive. He has to be brought back, then that argument can be raised. If he prevails on that argument, he might get no jail time.
And what about the statute of limitations?
No, because he already has been convicted.
Okay.
He already pleaded guilty to the child rape charge back in 1978.
Way to go. Lisa Bloom knows all. Thanks so much. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.